We got $14 trillion of debt now, and this is a threat to the future. So we need a credible plan to deal with it. You can't do it just with cuts. People say, well, just cut. If you eliminated everything you think of as government tomorrow, that's no more Defense Department, there are no more soldiers, airmen, Navy, none. It's gone. It's all gone. No more prison system, federal prison system, no more border patrol, no more National Institutes of Health, nothing. The government is gone, except somewhere someone runs a computer that cranks out Social Security checks and Medicare and that stuff. You still would not have a balanced budget. That's how big the problem is. So you can't just get there by cutting.
Hey guys, Aaron Baker, no sugar-coated news. You heard it. That's how Peter DeFazio opened up his town hall meeting the other morning in Cottage Grove. Imagine no government. Everything you think of as government, take it away. Take it away. Our budget still wouldn't be balanced. Imagine no federal prisons, no military, prisoners on the street running loose. But keep Social Security and Medicare. By his graph he gave me, his graph he was handing out, Medicare and Social Security make up 41% of the budget. His hypothetical analogy, it's completely bogus. It's all just about putting fear in you, pumping fear into you, and it's all about his whole point of the town hall is why he needs to raise taxes, why taxes have to be raised. And it was more than that. Of course, it was his supporters. Many of his supporters showed up and pushing him further, and of course he was for them. Here was more of a request by one of his supporters for Medicare for all.
So if businesses didn't have to pay as much or nearly anything for their health care, if we had Medicare for all, for example, I think that would be a way to make hiring in this country do a lot more. Now I know that the current Congress has a lot of obstacles to doing something like that, but the realities are that most of the money that we spend on health care in this country goes for older people, I think after the age of 65 by far, and adding other people in to coverage would not really cost that much and would make these businesses able to hire more people. Can I have your comments? Thank you.
Well, I didn't focus on jobs.
Now, sorry guys, I'm just going to give you highlights of this town hall meeting. Like all questions these politicians answer, they never actually answer them, and about 15 minutes later, they might slip in somewhat of an answer, and this is how Peter replied.
I was not a big fan of what we ultimately passed. It was a step, and it needs improvement. And, you know, sure, Medicare for all would have been great, but you can't say it wouldn't cost much when you look at the total health care bill in America. You know, it is a large bill. We also need to reform how we, you know, how medicine is provided.
There you have it, the congressman admitting right on video, right on tape, the health care bill was just a stepping stone, just a stepping stone. And you guys are going to love this next request.
I'd like to see a constitutional amendment to restrict and diminish the full citizenship of publicly traded corporations. We need a big idea that people can get along, that'll give people some power, so we can then talk about our issues and have some chance of succeeding on our issues.
Okay, thank you.
There you have it. Could you imagine? Let's just outlaw corporations. Let's just take them all away. Do away with publicly traded companies. Demolish Wall Street. Why don't we just throw a bomb on it? That's what they want. I mean, these people want to live in North Korea. North Korea is too capitalist for them.
What pressure are you applying to the Obama administration to renew the assault weapons ban?
The question is, what pressure am I applying to the Obama administration to renew the assault weapons ban? I'm not. That's not a major focus for me, and I don't believe that the ban, as written in the Clinton years, had any appreciable impact, and there's no active consideration by this administration to return to that. There's been much more of a focus on trying to get to the illegal sale and illegal use of guns, although BATF sure messed that up on the border by arming Mexican drug gangs.
So there's Peter on the assault weapons ban. Pretty much it wasn't enough is what it sums up to it. He wasn't happy with the Clinton administration. It wasn't enough is what I get. Next guy speaking personally knew some of the hikers that ventured across the border into Iran and were detained and now recently convicted up to an 8-year sentence in Iranian prisons. I talked with him, hopefully later on, I'll be able to do an interview with him so that you guys can find out a lot more about this. It's very interesting, but here's what he had to say.
Personal face-to-face appeal on behalf of Josh Fatal and Shane Bauer, who are being held in prison in Iran now for over 2 years, and they've been convicted of espionage, of course falsely, and they've been given 8 years, I believe. I guess I'm just want to make a face-to-face appeal for you to get involved. Maybe you have been, I don't know, or what your position is of influence on the State Department, or how you would go about generating diplomacy with the government of Iran, since it's the governments that are enemies and not the people, and they're being held because our governments are enemies.
Well, I certainly have been in touch with the State Department and have encouraged them to do everything they can. But I mean, you're dealing with a regime that, yeah, the governments are enemies, but there's some good reasons on our part why we have enmity toward the government of Iran. I mean, starting back with, taking over embassy and the hostages, up to a lot of the foment they're causing all across the Mideast in terms of arming, terrorists and that. But I think there have been very substantial efforts on the part of the State Department and working through intermediaries, the Swiss and others, to try and, extract those young people. But, they have, they've got their own agenda, and at some point I expect they're going to want something.
Right? Are they making demands, and do you know anything?
Not that I know of. I mean, this is all being conducted at a high level, and I'm not aware of what their demands might be. They're looking at them as some sort of a hold card, but it's just outrageous what they're doing to these young people, and so but
it's unprecedented.
Well, I don't know. That's totally unprecedented. Other North Korea's. There have been people that have happened, and just these extremist regimes, that do this kind of stuff. So yes, sir.
And guys, like always, I only get a question in at the end as he's leaving out a door. And I had to ask how he's going to create jobs. He had posters up everywhere talking about how not to create a job, kept creating hate against everyone else. And I never actually got what he's doing to create jobs. And his answer was he's going to increase infrastructure spending and create construction jobs. I'm sick of seeing these roads that don't need paved being paved over, and that smell of the asphalt while I'm stopped there and can't get where I'm going. I'm sick of that. And I called that, isn't that just so pretty much like the stimulus? And of course, no!
Give small tax cuts. I think we should invest in rebuilding our infrastructure. I could put $3.5 million to people to work in the next 6 months if we invested in rebuilding our infrastructure. We'd be a more competitive nation. The rest of the world is investing massively in their transportation infrastructure. We're not, and it's falling apart.
So pretty much more stimulus into...
Not a stimulus. The stimulus package, 7% of that was infrastructure in the broadest terms. $340 million of the stimulus was tax cuts. Tax cuts don't create jobs. Even their attorney